So now you're considering scalp micropigmentation and obviously you have a lot of questions in mind. So we're going to answer a lot of questions. If you're considering scalp micropigmentation, you must be having a lot of questions like, is it painful? Will it last forever? Do you have to repeat the treatment? Do I have to take any medicines? Or are you the right candidate for SMP? So in this video, we're going to cover all these questions so that you get clarity before your scalp micropigmentation. Well, let's start with the most common question. Are you the right candidate for SMP? If you're just looking to cover certain areas to blend with the sides and back, it would work well for you. But if your density is higher on the sides and the back and you're expecting the top to look exactly the same, that won't be possible. So basically, if you're covering the area or you're completely bald as in basically if you're using the clipper with a guard number 1 and if you're keeping it very short and in that hair loss area, if you're adding those pigments, you will be happy with it. You would be the right candidate for SMP. But there are some who expect the scalp to look as if there is a lot of hair there. That wouldn't be possible. You need to understand these are just pigments which are tattooed on the scalp so that area looks slightly fuller. But you need to keep your expectations real. Eventually, it's not like Topic or Fiber which covers that entire area. Some amount of your skin will show. So yes, the visibility of scalp will reduce, but some amount of scalp will show because eventually it's not like a paint that has been painted on the scalp. These are pigments which are dots on the scalp which basically reduces the visibility of scalp. Is scalp micropigmentation permanent? Well, let me tell you, scalp micropigmentation is not permanent. It usually fades with time. So it's usually what we call it's semi-permanent. So what it means is that probably after a year and a half or 2 years, the pigments will start fading off, obviously because your skin keeps peeling. So with time, it just kind of starts fading and then probably you would need another session to just probably do a touch-up to fill up that area. So yes, you may need a touch-up after a year and a half or 2. How long does the procedure take? The procedure usually takes around 4 to 5 hours because we usually suggest is doing these sessions in parts wherein you take a smaller area, numb that area, then deposit the pigments, then again numb the area. With this technique, there is absolutely no pain and the results are also much better. Yes, it takes a little longer, but that's the right thing to do. Well, to begin with, you got to avoid alcohol, you got to avoid blood thinners if possible, you got to avoid caffeine, and just in case if you color your hair, then don't color it the same day, color it a day prior or probably 2 days prior. How long is the recovery time? Well, let me tell you, in scalp micropigmentation, there is no downtime as such. I mean, once the treatment is done, you obviously get back to work and it's just going to be like a normal day. You just have to follow the aftercare instructions, which obviously we give you a whole list of do's and don'ts after doing the scalp micropigmentation. Will it match my hair color? Well, we have different shades, which probably at times you also mix and match to get the desired shade. So as far as matching the color to your existing hair is concerned, it's extremely easy for us so that you don't need to worry at all. Are there any side effects? Well, 95% of the time, there are absolutely no side effects. But if your scalp is sensitive, you may experience a bit of redness, maybe a little bit of itching or a little swelling, but that subsides in a couple of hours or probably a day or 2. So it's nothing major. It just subsides with time, probably a day or 2. That's about it. Can SMP be removed? Well, yes, SMP can be removed with the help of laser. In fact, we have a lot of clients who want to redesign their hairline shape. So in such cases, what we do is we basically do the laser treatment on the scalp and remove those previous pigments, wait for a while and then recreate their entire hairline shape or the top area. So the answer to the question is yes, it can be removed. Will SMP look natural? Well, if you're looking to cover certain areas or looking to add some density or covering that scalp or basically keeping your hair extremely short and cover the hair loss area, yes, it will look natural. But our suggestion is try to keep the receding hairline deep. Do not get the hairline forward. Don't try to fill it up totally. Don't try to add too much volume on top area because it will look artificial and it will not match with the size, and eventually when it starts fading, it will look really bad. So what we suggest is just take one step at a time. You should break this into sessions. You should do session 1, see it visually, that's how we work on it. Then do a session 2, add some more pigments, keep it very visual, and then do session 3, break it up. But there are some who just finish in 1 or 2 sessions. That's not the right way. So in SMP, it always has to be done in at least 2 to 3 sessions. Can I wear a cap or can I sleep immediately after the SMP treatment? Yes, you can. There is absolutely no problem. You just need to apply some moisturizer on the scalp and then you can wear the hat. That's not a problem. It's just that you're not supposed to shampoo it the same day. Is there any risk of infection? Well, if you're using a fresh needle, if you're using these fresh tools and you follow sterile equipment, there is absolutely no chance of any form of infection. Can I wash my scalp immediately after the procedure? Well, we always suggest that wait at least for 2 days because the pigments take time to settle down. So we suggest waiting for 2 days and then do it. Probably if you can wait for 3 days, that's even better. And it won't be obvious. So you don't need to worry that if you've done the SMP and you may not be able to go out. No, nothing like that. You can definitely do the SMP and step out. It's not obvious at all. With tissue, we can just clean the scalp and make it look natural. So we don't advise you washing immediately because the pigments take time to settle. How do I maintain the look of SMP? Well, it's very simple. You need to use a sunscreen regularly because if you go out in the sun, the UV rays usually break down the pigments and it starts fading even faster. Always use a sunscreen on top. You can repeat the touch-ups and you can maintain the SMP look. Can SMP cover scars? Well, SMP is an excellent option for scars and I think we've done probably around more than 3,000 SMP scars. So I think the best result that you get is basically when you cover the scars. If you've done the FUT or FUE transplant, obviously you must be having some scars and you will be having an issue going short because the scars will show. But when you do the SMP treatment, it blends beautifully with your natural hair. And if you want to watch a detailed video about scars, you can click on the I button and you can see the video about scars. And you can see the detailed video about scars. Well, I think I've covered most of the questions in scalp micropigmentation. So if you have any more questions, you can call on 9222 666 111 and try to get in touch with the consultant. Send your pictures, ask your questions, fill up the form. We could start with the first consultation round and then we can guide you whether you are the right candidate for SMP or no. Thank you so much and please subscribe to American Hairline.